Year's Eve, President Xi Jinping extended New Year wishes to the people in his annual address. For analysis, let's go now to Josef Gregory Mahoney in Shanghai. He's a professor of politics and international relations at East China Normal University. Good to see you and Happy New Year, Joseph. Firstly, what do you think were some of the highlights in President Xi Jinping's speech?
Well, Happy New Year from the other side of the world, where it's already, of course, 2024. He noted the economy had weathered the storm, demonstrating its resiliency and dynamism, a theme that connected with his observation that 2023 in China marked the return of bustling life across the country, embodied people's pursuit of a beautiful life, and presented a vibrant and flourishing China to the world. Indeed, this seemed to be the central theme of his speech, which he linked to social and economic recovery, and likewise his remarks on national security and sovereignty, which he praised as remaining secure and advancing despite challenges on many fronts. He did acknowledge that some were struggling to find adequate jobs, and likewise those who've suffered from national disasters, and indicated these people would stay foremost in his mind as the government advances policymaking.
And, you know, we have to admit that 2023 was not without its challenges, especially economically. You know, the recovery from COVID-19 for countries around the world has been tough. What are some of the most important policies, do you think, that China will need to really step into for 2024 to try and live into the promises that Xi said in his speech?
Well, you know, this was a New Year's greeting and not a policy speech, so it's probably not a good idea to parse his words for new insights on upcoming reforms. Aside from hitting his usual talking points about deepening reform and development across the board, in tandem with cultivating talents capable of driving innovation and green development, there were 2 points that stood out to me. First, that while China has made remarkable progress stabilizing its economy, and thereby laid a firm foundation for growth in 2024. He explicitly linked reform and opening up to further enhancing people's confidence in development. Again, we shouldn't parse, but I'm inclined to understand this as acknowledging that a diminished confidence, or at least an insufficient confidence, whether domestic or international, has put some downward pressure on post-COVID recovery and links to broader concerns about the overall reform project, given needs that were already pressing before the pandemic. Now, this can impact both production and consumer confidence, requiring a delicate balancing of different policies to stimulate growth and consumption without incurring too much debt or government intervention, and therefore finding oneself too vulnerable to other sorts of challenges. Second, he also mentioned the importance of balancing growth and security. Now, there have been some concerns, both internationally and domestically, that China has sacrificed the former for the latter. But over the past few months, there have been efforts to give more play to growth, and perhaps we'll continue to see new policies to ensure this going forward.
And Joseph, looking back over 2023, you know, I can think of quite a few highlights in China: the Shenzhou space mission, the rural and agricultural technology and revitalization, green energies too. What do you think were some of the highlights for China in 2023?
Well, clearly, the 10th anniversary of the BRI was a major point, and indeed, not simply because it was the 10th anniversary, but because, again, coming out of COVID, it marked an opportunity to reinvigorate those efforts and certainly to celebrate the considerable success it's had in certain regions of the world, including Southeast Asia, and the prospects of future growth, particularly in the Middle East and Africa and beyond. Now, he did note progress in different regions. One that stood out to me in particular was noting better integration of Hong Kong and Macau in the economy of the Greater Bay Area. He noted that China had secured a bumper harvest for the 20th year in a row, therefore further making advances in food security. And he noted that China had continued to consolidate efforts towards rural revitalization. There were several other things where he talked about, you know, extending green development and further enhancing China's industrial system, but I think these were some of the key points.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there for the time being. Really appreciate your time there, Joseph.